What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 103 of the Taste Cast, our weekly podcast where we talk about things, react to things, do a bunch of random shit. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
Quick reminders that we're in the last week of November, so make sure to download and play Neo and Outlast 2. Both offer for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, come back at the end of this week for Plus Club. Let us know what you thought of those games. We'll let you know we thought of them. And our game of the month randomly picked is Lost Planet 2, which is a 1 to 4 player cooperative game where you shoot bugs. Make sure to play that. Come back at the end of this week as well for Game of the Month. Also, make sure to be voting for our community pick Game of the Month, which will be next month. We're going to be cutting you guys off Thanksgiving Day. So as of Thanksgiving Day, when that starts, we will not be taking votes anymore. So make sure to get your votes in on this episode and prior episodes this month, and we will tally those up, and we will reveal what the community picked Game of the Month is for Game of the Month at the end of this week. I'm very excited to find out, although I kind of have a sneaking suspicion which one it is.
Well, I actually don't because I stopped keeping track for this month.
And I haven't been really telling people anymore because I want it to be fun. So I don't want them to be like, wow, I already know what's going to happen. So fuck it. So, yeah. Make sure to get those votes in. 1 vote per video. Type in GOTM. And yeah, do that. Also, we have a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all time. And we're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you'd prefer to listen to us. Tastecast. Typically we start with every Tastecast we talk about what we've been playing. So let's jump into that. You probably have more things to talk about, although we kind of said previous to filming that we both have played pretty much one game and then not as much to say on other games we've been playing. But what have you been playing?
Well, I mean, I'm still playing Final Fantasy 14. Finished leveling my botanist to 80, and most of my crafters are now 60 due to the Ishgard restoration that they've added to the game. Makes crafting leveling a lot faster. Other than that, leveling my black mage. I think I'm 76 now, so I'll be close to 80 on that one soon as well.
Wish I was 76 at anything in that game. I'm 50
It's a lot,
something.
it's a lot faster once you get through the story, because then after that you're just doing things to level instead of, to progress in the story. So, yeah. I mean, other than that, I'm just hopping in doing my weekly stuff and, just leveling it, random things here and there, trying to get as much things to 80 as I can. I mean, that's pretty much it on that one. So,
Okay. And then Death Stranding, you've been playing that.
I've been playing Death Stranding.
We'll save that because
Yep.
I've also been playing that. So I'll just this can be quick. I'm sure we'll have a lot to say about Death Stranding though.
Yeah.
I've been playing Death Stranding, pretty much only Death Stranding, but I
Right.
have played a little bit of COD, Modern Warfare. Still really liking it. I think I'm like level 110-ish area. So I've been playing it quite a bit. I want that season to roll out, which I think is next month. But yeah, still having fun with that. Really enjoying it. I need to beat the campaign of that. Right now I'm in like crunch mode, and I've already kind of talked about this on prior episodes, but I have like a list of the games I need to beat, like my priority games to beat. And I would like to beat the campaign of this before the end of the year, but my priority has been Death Stranding. Next, I'm going to try and beat Control as soon as possible. I'm already, like, I would assume halfway through it. And I'm hopeful in hoping to beat Fire Emblem, Three Kingdoms or whatever. I want to beat one playthrough of that, but that's supposed to be like 80 hours or some shit, and I just put fucking 60 into Death Stranding. So yeah, wishful thinking. But yeah, playing COD, need to beat the campaign. Enjoyed that so far. I'm like halfway through it, and yeah, generally just been running around shooting people, playing a lot of the multiplayer online stuff. I bought a second copy on PC, which has actually been kind of cool because like a weekend ago, Josh came over and was hanging out, and I was like, oh, I got 2 copies of Modern Warfare. You can play on my PS4. I'll play on the PC, and it worked perfectly. So that was pretty cool to just be able to do that. Yeah. I love that all my stuff. Crossplay's been awesome so far. My experience with cross-playing games has been almost like perfect. It's been great. I don't even care when I'm on PS4 playing against people on PC. I haven't noticed a big difference. And now that I'm playing on PC, my aiming's a lot faster than it would be on console. But I don't have the aim assist the console has. So people on controller are still very much competitive. Like, people have this idea that if you're on PC, you're going to wreck everybody. If you're good on PC, you're going to wreck some people.
Yeah.
But if you're like okay on PC and someone's really good on fucking console, they have a really good chance of wrecking you. I mean, like, people, if I'm like aiming at a door and you pop out, I don't care what you're playing on. I just got to pull that fucking trigger and you're done. There's so many scenarios like that will happen. So it's been interesting kind of playing on both. They both have their pros and cons, but I love cross-play wise that even the progress is cross progress. So everything I do on PS4, if I hop over to PC, all my shit's over there. Everything's the same. And one thing that's really nice is now they've introduced these trials that happen every time you level. You get a ticket, and you do a trial, and you can get 1, 2, or 3 stars, and those all give you, I think, like 4,000, 6,000, and 10,000 experience per like what you get. You get like 3 tries. If you fail, all 3 tries, you fail the whole thing. If you complete it on one of those tries, you can just end it there and accept the 2 stars, 3 stars, whatever. But a lot of times, if I'm playing on my PS4, when I get those trials, I'll hop over to my PC because a lot of them are like really aim heavy. Like some of them will be like target range and shit. Oh, yeah. And I'm like fucking mouse all day, dude. I'm just like ching, 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 like fucking nothing. So it's nice having that option. But yeah, really digging it, and it's fun on both. And I love crossplay. I want to see more games do crossplay. I so far have not had any issues with it, fare wise or connection wise. So
for sure.
And cross progress, that needs to be on fucking everything, man. I love that shit. Put that save information on the server, like put it on my console too, because I'm paranoid. But upload that info to a server, and so when I access it on like a different console, if I am playing on a different console, let me fucking access that, because I love that shit. It's so fucking cool to be like hours and hours and hours into this game, hop over to PC, and it's just all there.
Yeah, that's how Destiny 2 works as well.
So, yeah, and I love it. That's what I'm saying. Like that whole system, man. Like fucking, I just want to see more of this shit. Some games aren't going to be able to do it, like the crossplay. Like if for instance, if like Quake Champions or something came out on console, good fucking luck. That is a game that is like it's not, or like Tribes. That shit's not on console for a reason. That game is so fucking fast paced and crazy that it'd be hard to translate. But like games like Warframe, get everybody kind of synced up on those updates, and fucking put crossplay into that game. That game would fucking only benefit from fucking crossplay. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
If everybody could play Warframe together.
Pretty much every hub-based game.
Yeah, exactly. Any like cooperative-based game, The Division, fucking put that on fucking crossplay. Maybe Dark Zone, be able to opt out of playing against PC players, something like that, if you're worried about it. But like I said in COD, it really doesn't fucking. I mean, one PC player on their whole team is not gonna fucking change the tide unless that guy's like fucking some MLG motherfucker. But the likelihood of that is pretty low.
Right.
But yeah, guess I just have more to talk about when it comes to the crossplay than COD itself. But it's fun, really digging it, and I think it's probably one of the best CODs in years, easily. So been really enjoying it. Yeah. So I mean, that's all I've played. Oh, I tried Battle Breakers, which is Epic Games' new fucking hero collector thing. Gotcha. Where the fuck?
Mobile game.
Yeah. Not that I have a whole lot to say on that, but the only reason I downloaded it is because I had a day at work that was very slow. And I was like, a lot of people play these fucking games where you collect heroes constantly and you just do all this shit that you're barely even playing the game. I'm gonna see if I can get hooked to it, because I know a lot of people play this kind of games, and it doesn't do anything for me at all. I was like just letting it go. It just auto plays for you if you wanted to, and I absolutely wanted it to because I was at work. But I was just letting go, and I'm like collecting new heroes and shit. I'm leveling them up. I'm evolving them and shit. The graphics are like decent, but Epic Games has some money for a game like that. But it just does not do anything for me. So I'm just like, I'm not necessarily confused, because I get the aspect. People like collecting things. People like watching numbers go up. People like having scores. People like progression, shit like that. But like, there's almost no gameplay to it.
Yeah.
There is if I wanted to, but it's not efficient. When I can just let it do it on its own, it's going to go faster than I could ever go. And it's just really interesting.
Yeah, a lot of those games, at least from my experience, are like that. There's a handful where like the auto will only get you so far. And in the specific case of like Brave Exvius, there are like adventure maps and stuff like that. We actually do walk around and like look for treasure chests and stuff like that. So, but yeah, a lot of them are just like, there's a map. Yep. You select your destination, your token moves over there, the battle starts. That's most of them. So,
yeah. Yeah. And you said recently, and I don't know if we've talked about it much on the show, you said you've stopped playing Brave Exvius.
Yeah, I did a while ago. And not because I don't like the game anymore, but just because like, I played it pretty consistently, and at this point, like Chris and community member Psycho have been playing more than me. But for me, it was just more so like it was taking so much time to play it, which is fine if I wasn't playing other things, but it just started becoming distracting for me to play anything else. So I had to take a break.
That was one thing, because I was really putting effort into it. I put a lot of hours already in that Battle Burgers game, but it's on phone, but it's also on the Epic Game Store. So I have it installed on my PC, and I was playing, I think like Death Stranding or something like that. Well, I definitely was playing Death Stranding, and I was doing some like side quest shit. I would just have it going on my computer, and I would just like auto play, and then just keep playing, and then every once in a while I'd look over and auto, and then I'd go back to playing and shit. And so again, cross play, cross progression, neat game. I don't give a fuck about.
Played a couple idle clickers that do that too.
But again, well, back in the day, dude, like Cookie Clicker and shit, where the fuck that game was called. God, that game was addictive and it was stupid.
Yeah, there's a couple that play on mobile and PC now. So, and it's
I don't need that. I don't need that shit in my life again. See, those ones got me, but these ones, I don't get it. But when you're saying like the time investment, I was like playing a game while letting it play, and it never got to a point where I was like enjoying it. So I was like, how much time do I have to put into this to like finally get hooked from it? But
yeah, and I've said it to you before, but I think most of those don't work for me either.
Yeah, you're not playing all of them. You found like a couple that got you hooked.
Yeah, and I've dabbled in a lot of them. In fact, I still have a bunch installed on my phone for some reason. I just I don't play them at all.
Yeah.
So,
well, and one thing that's great about Brave Exvius in that field is it's already subject matter you like. Like if I was going to play one of these, I would probably play that one too, just because I do like Final Fantasy. I like Final Fantasy characters. So if I'm collecting characters, it's a lot better if they're ones I like already than these weird generic fucking B-rated.
One has its own characters and a storyline you go through as well.
Sure.
So.
Whereas this does have a story, but like it's Fortnite. It's aimed at everybody.
For sure.
So the writing is like, they're like, oh, fucking, he's such a clown. He's like, ha, fucking, I'm so cool, blah, blah. And like they're saying like real basic shit. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this at all.
That's the only other one I ever really like got into, and I literally stopped playing because I lost my account and they wouldn't help me get it back. Was
Guild Wars 2?
Well, yes, but Fate Grand Order. So I was playing that for a while, and I liked that one a lot too. But
it's amazing that there's some people who just will completely fuck you like that. But like, and say what you want about Blizzard right now, anytime I've had my shit stolen in that, I get it back real quick. I mean, there's a couple steps to it I actually kind of appreciate because they need to prove I'm me, and I can prove I'm me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I gotta send them my ID, but then I'm like, that makes sense. They need to know I'm me. But then I get it right back. Yeah. And their restoration, like when they restore your shit, they restore your shit. You get it all back. I've played other MMOs where I fucking had to get my shit back, and they kind of like Guild Wars 2 before they took my account away, fucking for no reason, just was gone one day. Fucking, I got my shit hacked. I was like level 80 at the time. I was max level at the time. I don't know what the fuck they're doing now. But all my shit got fucking sold, all that stuff. And I told them, I'm like, I didn't get all my stuff back. They're like, no, that's what it says you had. You know, that's what the records show. I'm like, I wasn't fucking naked without any items. Yeah. Why would I be level 80 and have nothing? They're like, well, that's what it says. I'm like, okay. And then I guess that was enough for whoever was talking to go, fuck this guy, and delete my account. It's gone.
Well, I lost mine too, so.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then now every time I hear about that company, people are like, yeah, they suck. And I'm like, I'm not going to ask. I already agree, but I'm sure if you're saying that, there's a whole fucking slew of bullshit.
Yeah.
That sucks. That's a fall from grace, man. I used to love ArenaNet and fucking NCSoft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Anything else on those kind of games? You stopped playing them. Are you playing any right now?
No.
No? Mm-hmm. Interesting. Chris is still playing though?
Every day.
Damn. I kind of want to have slow days. I've been having a lot of slow days at work recently, and I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck to do with my life when I'm doing that. And
I mean, it's fun. But I think the big thing too is a lot of those games are designed to be like predatory, and
100%.
Brave Exvius, though, it will completely put it in your face that you can spend money. I never felt like it's something you have to do. In fact, I don't think Chris has ever spent a dime. So
That's typically the route Chris likes to
Yeah. Well, and I'm just saying
creep down.
he's capable of doing all the content in the game. So
And that's good.
yeah.
That's how any free play should be.
Yeah. I spent money on it.
Yeah.
More than I like to admit, but
It's me with Warframe. Yeah.
but I was comfortable to do it at the time. So
I mean, if you like it, I
Yeah.
mean, who
well, I was
cares?
playing it every day. So exactly. So I mean, I would give Final Fantasy 14, besides a monthly fee, every time like some new pet or mount comes out that's in their pay for store, I'm like, yeah, I want it, and I like the game. So
I barely play 14, and I'll look at mounts and shit, and I buy them, and they're expensive too, but I think it's a good game, so I don't mind. I don't mind paying. If it was really fucking expensive, some games have crazy expensive mounts, like fucking Neverwinter had like fucking $16, $80 mounts and shit. It's a free to play game, but still, I'm like, I'm not buying a fucking mount for the price of a full game.
yeah, that's crazy.
That's you asking me to purchase the game.
I think they're anywhere from $13 to $30 for Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, and 30 steep to me, but they're cool looking mounts. They're like
They're
high
the
quality.
multi-person ones. So
Oh, and see, that's cool. But I mean, I'll never be able to justify that price 100%. But that is a game I will just go, yeah, it's fine. I think it's a really good game. So
yeah, I'd be less inclined to be it's fine if they didn't release stuff in game as well on a regular basis, because at that point it'd be like, oh, you're just depending on the cash shop at this point.
yeah,
And I don't feel like that's the way they're doing it. They are obviously designing stuff for it, but they release mounts and minions constantly in game as
yeah,
well.
you're always
so.
unlocking shit. So yeah. All right. Well, we should probably move into
Death Stranding.
the big game that we've been playing, Death Stranding. It's been out for a couple weeks now. It's gotten mixed reviews, which is something I said early on. I was like, this game will be divisive for sure. It definitely has been. I think in my experience, I know in my experience, more people like it than dislike it. I've had some interesting interactions on Twitter over the game. I got into a fun debate with the guy who runs reviews for IGN. He's the guy who decides who does the reviews and what games they review. I had like for 2 days straight a conversation with him about. I made a joke essentially that they put out their 6.8 Death Stranding review, and everybody thought it was funny essentially because everybody else was like, yeah, higher grades, and I was like, out of all of the people, you guys went the lowest, and it was just funny. So I made a joke about 2 weeks after they released that and they got a lot of shit for it. They released the article that was like, oh, Death Stranding is actually pretty fun if you play it enough. And I'm like, oh, okay. We're all having fun. We're all having a blast with it. Now you're like, hey, I want to be a part of the conversation too. You should bring that conversation over to IGN. Click on our ads. Made a joke about that. He did not like that. And he mischaracterized so many things I fucking said. I called him out on every single one. I'm like, I never said that. You just made that up. So anyway, that was a fun conversation. Hopefully, if you ever see this, Dan, I enjoyed talking with you. Until you became an asshole on the second day. He came back, he's like, you fucking sound like you're holding a grudge. I'm like, you just came back after 24 hours to fucking talk shit to me again. What are you talking about? Holding a grudge, motherfucker. I'm responding to you. Anyway, I've been having conversations about Death Stranding. It's been pretty divisive. I don't think Dan liked it, but that's fine. I don't care. Don't like the game. It's fine. Just don't mischaracterize me. So yeah, it's been interesting, but we've played it. I recently just beat it. It took me 60 hours to do so. Apparently, it's like a 20 to 40 hour game, people are saying, but I guess I was just savoring that flavor.
I know I am.
Yeah. And yeah, before we get into just talking about it generally, I just want to say I am planning on doing a full discussion, spoilery talk about this game. I want to do a review, but you guys know how I am with reviews. It's always difficult because I put more production into those. But all in all, without saying anything specific about the game, I loved this game to death. I thought it was really fucking good. It's very, it's a very unique experience that I've never experienced from any other game ever. In fact, a lot of times it felt like a hybrid. I know a game with a lot of cinematics, people are like, oh, it's like pretty much a movie. This literally felt like the merging of cinema and video games for me. And when I was finished with it, I left having a lot of thoughts about it, a lot of things I'd like to discuss with somebody. So somebody beat it, please. Wade had it fucking ruined for him, which sucks because the whole game is about the journey there, and the end really. You feel that. You feel like you've gotten to a certain point, and you had to struggle to get there and shit. And it's very worthwhile. I would definitely recommend this game to most people, but I know a lot of people, or some people aren't going to be into it. But I loved it. It's definitely top 3 contender for game of the year for me easily. And yeah, just wanted to throw it out there before we talk about it because I loved it. If anyone's questioning that, I absolutely loved it. So you've been playing it.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, I also, when I finished, I think I was like 222. That's my level. So, and someone else on Twitter was like, I just beat the game, and they showed their max level at the time, and they were 222 as well. So I was like, that's weird that
That's weird. I'm 170 right now.
you were like 100 in the first area. So you were doing a lot of side shit. But you also, when I watch you play, you're like,
Carrying everything.
creeping around and shit. I carry a lot of shit too, but fucking we play definitely different, especially with the BTs and stuff. You're like sitting there in the rain, like with your grenade, like, and I like typically when I'm around BTs at this point, like I'm just like walking on foot and it's going, and I just kind of swerve out of the way, or I do other things I'm not going to talk about. But like, I mean, you already know with the grenades at this point that you can fucking kind of you can fucking essentially fight them at this point.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little more aggressive with the way I go through them. So that's definitely going to change, how long it takes to get through. But anyway, yeah, 222 is when I beat it, 60 hours. I think 15 tumbles or something like that.
So I mean, the amount of times you've fallen.
Yeah.
I don't think I have yet. I've gotten very close.
There's a certain range of terrain that I decided to conquer. I absolutely conquered it through technology, but it was a journey to do that. And I think I fell a couple times. And I felt bad every single time because BB will fucking let you know. Although I got him to max emotional stability, which makes him less worried about certain situations. And one time Josh was watching me. I was like climbing rocks and I fucking fell. And it was just like such a flat, like I fell and landed right on my back. Went and fucking all my shit went everywhere. And he didn't cry at all. He went, and like that was fine. I was like, wow, you really don't care anymore. You're just kind of used to this. Like, God, dude, you fucking fell again. So anyway, you've been playing. Mm-hmm. You haven't beaten it. You've been playing for hours though.
I'm in chapter 3.
Yeah. Which is where everybody says is like when the game starts. I think that's kind of an interesting way to put it because I don't know what they mean by that outside of the things you have unlocked so far. But you unlock more stuff from there too. So I think the whole game, like a lot of Japanese games, is an ever-expanding, constantly unlocking experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree with that. They probably say that just because of the place you start and the place you are at that point are much different.
We're gonna talk loosely about the whole experience without really diving into the story.
Yeah.
So there is multiple zones, and I think it is you leave that first zone, and I think people kind of see that as like the beginning, the first area being a tutorial.
It does feel a little tutorial-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not the last mission in that zone, though. I guess it is because that's kind of your first like long journey at that point.
Yeah, and you fight your first boss at the end of it, so it does feel kind of like a zone that's getting you prepared. But every time you unlock a new item, it's telling you how to use it again, and some missions will push you to use that item to learn how to use it and shit. So.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like when they first give you the grenades, and then the next mission sends you to the BTs, and I had like, oh no, it's the boss fight is what it is, and I had put all my grenades away. I was like, I don't need these.
Yeah. And then those guys are out there who'll fucking throw you shit.
Here, have some grenades. I'm like, why didn't I bring these? Yeah, I don't know. I spend most of my time right now. I'm building infrastructure. I'll just word it that way. And as I'm going back and forth for supplies, I will grab deliveries and side missions that are on my way. So I'm kind of treating it like an Uber driver. I'm like, I'm going that way anyways.
Yep.
What can I drop off on the way? I got my first 5-star right on my pants there, which I think is kind of a neat feature that you get to wear your trophy on your outfit. God, man, I don't know. I'm constantly just impressed by the detail in the game. I'm also really impressed that I can just be almost doing nothing sometimes in that game, and I'm just like, fine, just chilling in the game.
This game is for. I really wish everybody would give it like a good try, and kind of realize it's not just about walking places. It's about the journey. It's a third person action game like any other, except for it has a balance mechanic.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything on you, you're not really falling unless you trip over something.
I'll say I'm fighting all the time now.
Yeah. I mean, like you're not playing other third person games where you have a shitload of stuff stacked on you. So they didn't think about the aspect of, trudging along or whatever. But,
yeah, like I got the first, weapon now.
yeah. Which one?
The, was it Bola?
Oh, Bolo. Yeah.
And
Or Bola.
that thing's amazing.
Oh yeah. One thing I love, I remember before the game came out, I was watching, trailers on and stuff like that, and I kept seeing like non-lethal stuff, and I was like, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, like it seems kind of like soft to me. But then like you play the game, and within the lore, it makes complete sense. The mules, first off, are a cult. Their parents were porters and shit, and they just live for packages. They want
They're hoarders.
yeah.
Yeah.
But and in any other post-apocalyptic world, they'd be, marauders who'd come kill you or steal you and slave you or whatever. But in this world, you can't really kill people because it creates issues for everybody, and it can create a void out. So not only are they just only for the packages, they can't do shit to you. They could like fucking tie you up, but like other than that, like they can't kill you.
Yeah, they literally just aim to knock stuff off your back sometimes.
I'm also thoroughly impressed that game's predictive throwing ability.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be running and a mule will throw something, and in most games it's gonna land like near you, behind you, because you're running, but the thing will land like ahead of me and shit. It's really good at predicting where you're gonna run, which is fucking impressive.
Yeah, and I didn't realize they are like little like proximity, like don't stand here once this is here zones until I ran into one in a package. I was like, okay. And the one guy stopped fighting me and started rushing for my package. So they don't care about you. They just want your shit.
Yeah.
So
That's why they're throwing things to knock your packages off. That's why they're smacking those things off.
yeah, it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting. I can't even call them villains. Just adversary that you're stuck.
They're just a group of people that's the way they live.
So
The whole game is interesting. I mean, like the lore in that game is all unique and very Kojima.
yeah. What else did I get recently? I unlocked my first vehicle that I can make now.
Which is the
Two trikes.
reverse trike or whatever. Yeah.
One's got a better battery, but it doesn't hold as much shit. The other one holds more stuff, but the battery doesn't last long. So
Yeah.
and then I've been stealing
there's the
the
long
mules
range
trucks and using those instead.
Yeah, that's how I started too. At first I was like, I need a vehicle, and I just run into like a mule camp and be like, all right, I'm taking this.
Yeah, thanks for the car.
You're already in the area, but one thing I love about the game that is loosely inspired by Dark Souls, specifically leaving signs and stuff, which I love, is the whole social aspect of the game. You're alone, but you're not alone. The journey is lonely, but not, because you'll run into things that remind you that there's other people doing the same journey with you at the same time.
I also have NPCs now.
Yeah, other porters. Yeah. But there's also like projects that you're working on, and you build them, and some of those, not all of them I've learned, but some of them will load into other people's worlds, and some of theirs will load into yours. Yeah. There's things that I felt like were incomplete that people had built, and I'm like, why are people doing this? But I noticed in their world, they probably have a whole complete system that they've worked on, and only some of it came over to you. So you might be able to use it to expand upon it. But even like, you're at the part where there's roads in the game.
I came back to one of them finished.
Yeah, and that's such a cool fucking thing, because you're putting all this time and work into these roads, and then you'll finish it. Not only are you driving on it, and you're like, this is fucking great. This is a game changer.
Yeah, game changer.
But then also it starts telling you, oh, people are using that road you built. So it loaded into
like hundreds of people. Yeah, it's crazy.
And then you're getting likes on it and stuff. What the fuck? Where all these fucking flies come from? Anyway, you start seeing the benefits of it, and then you'll be working on another road, and you'll go and do something else, and when you come back, I came back one time and the road was finished. I was like, oh, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like someone finished this up. And then another time I had completed 2 road sections and I went back to grab some shit, came back, and there were signs left near the road where people were like, oh, keep going and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I left signs next to the next hub where you could build the next road. And I left a couple signs saying like, oh, continue this, blah, blah, blah. And it was getting like likes and shit. So we were like all communicating with each other
Yeah.
in our own worlds and stuff. And that's something that I haven't experienced. You know, you can play a game like Minecraft or something where we're all playing together and we're all just building and it's all benefiting stuff, us and stuff. But in this, like, you're almost like very much in theme communicating to different dimensions of people.
Yeah.
It's intersecting and very much goes with like the whole, I don't know what verbiage I can even use, but the whole ha and ka of the game, which is something in the game.
Yeah, I've noticed most of the time the sign. It seems like I would say probably a good like 95% of the time the signs are helpful, except for like at the towns and hubs and stuff like that. They're just there all over the place. But like once I built roads, all of a sudden people were putting speed signs down on the road, so you'd go faster.
Yep.
On it. The stamina ones would also be there too, and you're just driving through and stamina and speed buffs essentially as you're going.
It was threw me off at first when I was driving because I just boost also. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. I did run into a couple where people put signs down, and I don't know if they were intentionally putting them in bad places or if maybe on their game something was happening in that spot. But like there was a BT warning on one, and I like walked past it, and I was like, where? And I kept walking. I was like, there's no BTs here, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's something I noticed a lot too. Like it seems like anytime I've just unlocked some kind of new thing to build, they start showing up in my world, which we were talking about. It almost seems like when you get access to that, that's when it starts revealing other people's whatever that is on the map. But sometimes I'll find ones that are just out in the middle of nowhere doing nothing, and it's almost like somebody was like testing it, like, oh, I wonder how this works, and they just left it there.
Yeah.
And I'm like deleting it because I'm like, I don't want this here.
yeah, I've had stuff built in the middle of pathways and stuff like that. Like, dude, put it to the side.
Yeah.
Like, why is it in the middle?
Yeah, but it's what anybody who knows me knows that when I play a game where you share a space and build, though, I like to have my own space because I have an idea I want to work on, and I don't want anybody to interfere with it. I want you to be nearby, but I want you to stay over there. But this game, it's not that kind of game. Every time I see stuff people have built, it's like a reminder that the whole game is about connections, connecting with people and stuff like that. So it's very much in theme. It's almost a really comforting thing to see that everybody else is in this fucking desolate ass wasteland that's gorgeous. Everybody's there doing the same thing as you, and it's a really cool reminder that I fucking love. Graphically, the game is fucking fantastic looking.
Oh yeah.
Decima engine already looked great. This game doesn't look like Horizon Zero Dawn in any way. This game has a really photorealistic look to it.
Easter eggs.
Sure. But the landscapes, I've never seen landscapes that look like this in a game.
No.
I also love that the terrain, some people don't like it. The terrain is a gameplay mechanic. There's yellow and red aspects to the terrain that go into play, which is a part of the journey, the struggle of getting from one point to another, that I love. But like sometimes if you're sitting still and you just look at the backgrounds, they're fucking really good looking. Oh, yeah. There's this really muted look to them that looks photorealistic. And then a lot of the mocapping, they weren't doing shit like that in fucking Horizon Zero Dawn. The mocapping in this game, sometimes it's pretty standard looking. It looks really good, but then other characters later in the game, like when you're talking to them, sometimes they look almost fucking real. And it really blew me away how much work they put into it. And the facial animations and stuff. I was watching people's foreheads creasing and marks on their face and stuff when they're moving. And it's, I haven't really felt this way about facial mocapping since LA Noire, which is the one that kicked it off, essentially.
Yeah. Well, and speaking on them doing a lot of mocapping animations too, the amount of things that Sam himself does, even just like when traveling, blows my mind, like the way he interacts with the train all the time. So yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
They do a great job with that. I also love This is the first thing I've seen Norman Reedus in that I like him in. I'm not a fan of the guy. This is his perfect role because he's like a reluctant, unsung hero type character. But he also is not like this like deep fucking like battle hardened fucking badass character. So like he talks like a normal dude all the time, and like he'll be walking, he'll trip and be like, "Fuck, dude," or like he like is really tired. He sits down, he's like trying to sleep, and I wake him up, which I always hate doing. A lot of times I'll let him sleep. I've let him sleep for an hour before, and he's sitting there talking in his sleep and shit. I'm like, "Yeah, you need to rest for sure. Just chill out. I'm gonna do something else. I'm on my computer and shit." But he'll like wake up, and as he's standing up, he's just like, "Fuck this, dude!" Like he's just like pissed because like this, it's hard, it's rough, and I fucking going along with like the animations of him doing stuff as he's traveling around, it makes him feel alive as a character, and it's really fucking cool. Like I love it. Like all the features we're talking about that you're experiencing, I'm still like enamored by now where I'm at after beating the story, and I'm still very much enjoying all that. It's like there's enough things in there that there's so many little details that none of it gets old or boring for me. I love the whole experience. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about this game because there's a lot of shit I would love to talk about, but I'll save that for later.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to beat it by the end of the year. So
You definitely should. I really, really, really want you to beat it. I vaguely, again, I beat it and I loved it, like I said already, but it's gonna be hard to beat this game for me for game of the year, just because I get really attached to games that give me an emotional reaction. I get emotional with a lot of games. I mean, you got some good music playing and some cool stuff happening in the story and be like, oh, this is cool. But this game, like, I mean, everyone in this game who has Dooms at some point will be crying because of things in the game. I felt like I had fucking Dooms on chapter 14. I was fucking, I started playing that chapter. It's the epilogue chapter. And I was just fucking playing, and I was like, oh my God, dude, this is fuck. And like, it was just a fucking beautiful experience, man. I'm not getting that from another game this year. No game's going to do that for me.
yeah,
So I got to beat some more games. I've beaten some games already, but like that kind of shit is what I live for. Like, I'm a big movie dude, and I love dramatic movies the most. They're my favorite. Anything that is just really powerful. This game did that for me, which it was great because a lot of the game is like confusing, and it's on purpose confusing. The game, throws you some curveballs and shit like Kojima does, but he does a really good job. He learned his lessons after Metal Gear Solid 2 of clarifying things, and he ends up creating this experience that's very, very impacting. And I think the biggest reason why it is, I'm being vague, I know, but is because that aspect of the journey from beginning to end, walking on foot, creating things to make that journey easier, working and connecting people to get to that point. That's, some people don't like that aspect of like, you got to walk everywhere. You don't have to. That's only if you're choosing not to build infrastructure to make your life easier.
if you want to fly through the game, you're gonna walk because you're gonna go in a straight line. But if you want to make it easier for yourself and not have to do all that walking, you'll spend more time in areas for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, you can get to a point where you're not really walking a whole lot anymore. And I would argue in most games you walk everywhere. I mean, you play an MMO, you're walking a lot.
Yeah.
This one just has it has mechanics to make it feel like you're fucking Frodo going to goddamn throw the ring in.
Yeah.
And it feels like that.
And like what was brought up earlier, like there is combat in the game too, and it's just not it's not the focus point is all.
But it can be. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you can fucking go, like, there's all sorts of shit that comes in later that you would find in any fucking third-person shooter.
Yeah.
It's a stealth game. I creep around all the fucking time
Yeah.
and take people out with my strand and stuff.
Yep.
And it's satisfying. This motherfucker has a pedigree in stealth games, so it feels good. Any kind of, like, point-and-aim combat, being vague again, feels good. It feels tight. Like, it all is fucking
Yeah,
great.
I'm having a blast with the weapon I unlocked.
Yeah,
so,
it's awesome.
yeah.
It's all gratifying. Fucking the horror elements with the BTs, I still enjoy it.
I I appreciate it.
It becomes different.
The when you walked
Later.
out and I was playing today, I wasn't as on edge, but it's because I could defend myself. So
Yeah, for sure. And that's part of the journey. And I
Yeah.
love that aspect. And that journey, doing that for 60 fucking hours for me in my case, and getting to this result, I felt just like if you read a book. A lot of people like books over movies. I think they're different in the way they tell stories, but obviously, but a lot of people get really invested in books. You spend so much time in that world, just like an RPG. You spend so much time in that world. And this, I spend so much time getting somewhere with people and connecting people and meeting people and creating relationships with people in that game that everything's earned. A lot of times in stories, I'm like, that kind of sucked because it doesn't feel earned. There's like, this is a thing that happened. That happens in stories. I'm like, okay, cool, let's move on. But in this, everything's fucking earned. You feel everything about it. I really need to do an episode where I talk like about specifics. One thing I also want to shout out too, I love the fucking, not only the soundtrack, which is fantastic. It's fucking made for me though. The sound design's really good too. When they touch stuff, when they're walking on stuff, there's sound for everything.
Audio
Some games
cues
will
left and right, yeah.
will skip that shit all day. A lot of games are just like, yeah, you got to have like walking sound effects, but on that, but like in this, like in cinematics, when people are grabbing stuff, you hear the sounds of everything. You gotta do all that. You gotta record all those sounds and put it in the game. And a lot of people don't do that shit, which I really appreciate. It is very Japanese in the sense that people make a lot of noises when they do anything. They're like.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'm not doing that in my life. Maybe you are. I don't know. But at the same time though, they had to do all that fucking voice acting and audio recording, stuff like that for it. So I appreciate it. But I really love the fucking soundtrack. It's amazing. This is like, I don't know another game that has like promoted a band so much. They literally took almost all of Low Roar's discography. I've listened to all their albums. I love Low Roar. And they're all in this fucking game. And it's great because I love every song I've ever heard by Low Roar. Like I said, I've listened to their whole discography many times. And every time one of the songs roll out, I'm like, all right. And I'm just like walking, and then something will happen. BTs will show up and the song will go away. I'm like, God damn it. Just keep playing the song. Don't fucking cut me off like that. It drove me nuts when that happens.
It's also really good about when to put a song in.
It's so good, dude. I love the timing.
I would say, to use the example in the first zone, when you're coming up that hill, finally you get past all the BTs and you get the view, you get,
Oh yeah.
And the music starts slowly coming in, and it's almost like the sun is rising and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it's
amazing.
Like, that's a good scene. Good job.
And it's perfect too, because like I'm gonna emphasize again, I already love this band a lot.
Yeah.
So like it's just like, think of a band you love, and then in a game someone just starts playing songs from that band, and you know all those songs, and you have favorite songs, and those songs are on the soundtrack too. Because a lot of times you're like, oh, they didn't have like my favorite song. They have them all. Every song by Low Roar pretty much is in this fucking game. I see like tonight. I'm like, all right, I love that fucking song. Fucking I'll Keep Coming is in there, of course. I was so happy when I heard that. I'm like, all right, that's the one that started it all. It's really neat. It's really neat. And I'm sure Low Roar does appreciate it, because before this they're relatively unknown, but now they're not.
Yeah.
They're the soundtrack of a whole fucking game. Which is really cool.
One that either love or hate is getting talked about. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is huge advertising. It's a great deal. I wonder if other bands are going to go, hey, can we just do the whole sound? I mean, Health did the soundtrack to Max Payne 3, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Health is fucking fantastic. But and it's funny, Health was a different band before Max Payne 3. They made the soundtrack to Max Payne 3, and they're like, this is what we sound like now. And all their albums just sound like Max Payne 3 now. I'm like, that's cool, because that was great. The stuff before was fine, but it's weird how that defined them. And then Churches does a song that's really fucking good in it. I love the music, but I also love the game music, not just like the soundtrack, but like the score that was made for the game. It's very Kojima. It's very modern and digital and like that kind of shit. I love that. Yeah, it's visually, audio wise, it's a fucking pleasure to play. I like the gameplay. That's the divisive part of it. But I really enjoy it. It's very methodical. It's very meditative. I literally could sit there and just play that all day. I did many times. I was just like playing it. And then when you get the storyline.
Every time I turn it on, that's what I'm doing all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So I get
And
it.
like missions can take like 35 minutes to complete, so
Yup.
time just fucking flies.
And if you're me and you can't just walk in a straight line, I'll be going. And I'm like, oh, there's some metal. I veer off and I grab it and I go back to where I was, my path. And I go, oh, there's some whatever that crystal thing is you gather.
Power crystals.
Yeah, grab that. Go look for. Hey, I'm heading that way anyways. I'll deliver that package.
Yeah, a lot of times I'm just fucking just running across like fucking Goku or something as a kid, and fucking I'll just like just be snatching shit up as I'm running. Just I'm at the point where I don't veer off to grab stuff unless there's something like I'm like, ooh, that's something I really need.
Yeah.
But you get to the point where you're just kind of like you got an eye for specifically Cairo crystals. I mean, anytime I see those, I'm like fucking snatching them up. I got like 3,000 or 4,000 of that shit right now.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say you spend it in like the 4, 5, and 600 at a time range though. So, yeah, I grab those anytime I see them, unless they're way out there. I'm just like, whatever. Any zones where it rains often enough, you can just come back after a while. There'll be a shit ton of them. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I don't know.
You kill BTs with grenades? Do you get them?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
just making sure.
I don't think you're killing them because
Well,
it says
you're-
non-lethal. So I think you're just banishing them.
You're releasing them.
Yeah,
They're in like a limbo. That's
Yeah.
why they give you a like when they go away.
I didn't see that. I was too
Yeah,
busy.
when they
trying
disappear,
not to
it goes
get seen by 'em.
BT one like.
Oh, okay.
So you're sending them essentially.
So you're Ghostbusters?
Yeah,
Huh.
because it's that whole idea of limbo.
Yeah.
They're stuck there. So they want to die. They want to leave.
But they want to take you with them.
It's complicated. I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, I love it. I love the whole life and death theme of the game, but also the connection theme. But Kojima's a fucking he's a goth boy. He likes a lot of goth music. He likes all that life and death shit and people fucking crying black tears and shit.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I love it too. I'm also a goth boy. So from fucking recovering goth kid. But yeah, the whole imagery of that shit. I love the whole idea of like, you know, dimensions, but also like people passing to another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, releasing people from limbo and shit. It's cool.
Um,
The whole beach idea is fucking wild, but I kind of get it. I pretty much get it now.
for sure.
There's some things I beat the game. I'm still just like thinking about it, like how
Yeah,
it
and I need to sit down and play it obviously
Yeah.
some more. But I was gonna say, looking at the clock, we should probably move forward.
Yeah, one thing I want to say before we move forward, because I want to do just an episode talking about this because I have so much to say on it, but I can talk about every fucking detail of it. I really love all the performances in it. Everybody who was in this game did a fantastic job. Every single fucking person, even Norman Reedus, I really liked him in it. I liked everybody in this. I forgot his name, but the guy who plays Die Hardman, though, something Lee Jenkins, I think. He especially does a fantastic job in certain story parts of the game, which is a big surprise because I didn't see a whole lot of people talking about it. Everybody's talking about Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen, who's fantastic as well in the game. But I was just thoroughly impressed with, like, they didn't have anybody half-ass their performances in this.
No one's talking about Troy Baker.
Huh?
No one's talking about Troy Baker.
Honestly, I think he's the biggest. He's not a waste in it. He's definitely good, but I wish he had more
Oh, okay.
as a character. Because Troy Baker's fucking proven.
Yeah.
I don't gotta fucking go like, he did good in this. He does good in everything. He does good in this as well, but I wish he had more. He feels, you
I've
know.
only gotten a taste from him so far, and
Sure.
I really liked his tone. Yeah.
No, he's awesome. He's
Yeah.
awesome. But like when you're looking at the other characters though, and how much there is to them, there's so much more to get from the other characters with him. Yeah, I can't talk about it a whole lot, but there's just I want more from him because I already know what Trey. I fucking Last of Us is one of my favorite games ever fucking made, and he is my favorite part of that fucking game. Ellie's great too, obviously, but yeah, Troy Baker's fantastic. So knowing what he can do with like Joel, it was cool to see him play like a villain though. So, which I digged.
Same with Nolan in Last of Us.
Which is really cool to see, yeah, because he was fucking creepy in that. I'm like, oh, you got a dark side, okay. But if you watch Retro Rewind, fucking quick,
Yeah, he's
quick
full
plug,
of the dark side.
quick plug for them. I love both of them. Yeah, he's full of dark humor. I'm like, all right, he's one of us, cool, because that's how I am. Also, shout out to BB. He's like my new fucking favorite character of fucking games in general.
He's just been creeping me out lately.
I love BB so much.
Game decided to show me a bunch of random crap from him all of a sudden. So,
Oh yeah. I I specifically like the one where you fucking knock and he goes, and then he knocks some more. He goes, and then I watched you watch it, and he starts headbutting the fucking glass.
Yeah, that was kind of
And Norman Reedus, I like it because like fucking, he like almost looks like Bruce Lee. He's like, pop, 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 and starts punching the glass. And then fucking, and when I first saw it, I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Because Norman Reedus is like, pop, pop, hitting the glass really hard. I'm like, careful, what the fuck you doing?
Yeah.
And then when he starts like punching quickly, BB, fucking, he starts backing up and he starts headbutting the shit. And when he fucking breaks it, it makes this scary music and shit because it's like odd. But I've seen it a couple times now because they'll happen randomly. But he's kind of like leans out and he's just looking. He's like, and he's like looking at you. And I'm like, he's wants a hook, dude. Pull him out. He's fine. He's wanted out. He needs some fucking air. But
I don't think that's how he works.
no comment.
Yeah.
You saw the Guillermo del Toro one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one creeps me
gross.
out. Yeah, it's just like, oh, I'm just like, ugh. But yeah, or not so far. I fucking beat it, but I'm still gonna play it. I fucking love this game a lot. I will get into details on that. I do want to do a review of some kind because I want to give it a finite representation of how much I like it. You're liking it, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. You seem to be enjoying it.
No, it's great. The pace is totally me though, so
I love it.
Yeah.
But when people are like, when they're fair about it, they're like, I don't like it. It's not for me. It's boring. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's cool. When people are like, it's fucking sucks. I've never played it, but it fucking sucks. I'm like,
I can do the same thing in No Man's Sky all day. Not to necessarily compare the two games, but
I made that comparison before the game came out.
Yep.
I'm like, this game's gonna be No Man's Sky. It's gonna come out, and people are gonna buy it, and they're gonna go, what the fuck? And I'm like,
I can just wander around a planet in No Man's Sky, no problem. So it's the same thing for me. Just like, all right, let's go check this out.
Yeah. So let's know in the comments. Have you played Death Stranding? Do you plan on playing it? Do you not want to play it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Why is that? Have you beaten it? No spoilers, please, in the comments. I really want people to be able to experience this on their own. Did you watch someone play it? I know a couple people who have watched it and liked it, watched it and didn't like it. I would really, really recommend though. I think the result of the end is so much more earned if you experience the journey on your own. Some people might not be able to do it. I get that, but I would really recommend you play the game because I think it's so much better when you struggled to get
and apparently
where you're going.
Chapter 3.
Yeah,
at the very least.
Yeah, everybody says get past chapter 3. And yeah, I would also hope some people start viewing it slightly different because it's not just a walking game. That's such a simplistic way to put it. So, but I'll talk about that in more detail later. So let me know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to Death Stranding. And if you want to hear more from me about it, do you want a review? Do you want to hear a general discussion? Do you want to wait till Chevy beats it? We can just talk about the whole thing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Okay, so I alluded to this before, but Half-Life ALYX has been confirmed. The video came out, and we're going to watch the trailer for it, and we're going to watch Jeff Keighley talk about it. We probably should skip this and do a different episode.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So, we're going to talk about Half-Life ALYX, and we'll go into the details of what that is specifically in case anybody's out of the loop somehow. But first off, I feel like we should probably watch the trailer before we get into the details. And then we're going to watch Jeff Keighley talk with them about pretty much why they're making this game. Any thoughts on this before we go into it? I don't think you're the biggest, not to say negatively, but
I straight up, I'm not their audience at all, and I don't have anything negative to say about Half-Life. It's just not my game.
Sure.
So
the one I always bring up is like Gears. You know, if you like Gears, I'm never gonna sit there and be like, oh, fuck, it sucks. But I'm not into it. It's not for me.
Yeah,
and that's rare. I'm into most games.
And I've tried both. Speaking of the main titles in the series there, so they just didn't really do it for me. But I also, if you've been watching the channel, and if not, you're finding out now, I don't play a lot of shooters unless they offer something like like I guess a good example is like BioShock Infinite offered a tremendous story.
You want a narrative.
Yeah.
You want a
or
linear
I want to play
story.
with someone.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And not to say Half-Life doesn't have a story, because it absolutely does, but I don't think it's told in a way that makes me want to continue.
Yeah, I mean that's the limitation of the time it came out, though. But
Yes.
it was revolutionary, and I mean, Half-Life 2. I didn't even appreciate as much as I should have when it first came out. Graphically, I did. I was like, "Oh, this looks amazing." But what it did for telling stories in first-person shooters led the way to pretty much what every game that's a first-person shooter does now. The way that Call of Duty revolutionized multiplayer and the standards of leveling up and shit and perks. Half-Life 2 absolutely did that. I remember playing Half-Life when I was a kid, the original, and I fucking loved it. It was kind of like horror-esque. It was kind of creepy. 2 also has those elements in it. It had a story to tell, sci-fi. I've always been into sci-fi, and as a shooter, I love shooters. So I loved Half-Life when I was a kid. I'm not a huge lore junkie. I'm not like super into it, but I did like it a lot when I was younger. And then Half-Life 2 came out. Amazing looking when it came out. I think it still looks pretty decent. It's old now, but I think it's aged really well for it being as old as it is. And the storytelling there, what they did for the mod community when it comes to the games that came out, like Team Fortress and shit. I mean, Half-Life's is an institution. It's really an important part of gaming, regardless of if you're into it or not. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Half-Life, but I like it a lot. It's just crazy that we are getting a Half-Life game. Even if it is a weird way to get a Half-Life game, we're getting a full-length Half-Life game.
You know they're scared shitless to put a 3 on that, man.
They actually said that recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is kind of sketchy to hear. That kind of sucks to hear. But one thing that I've talked about this before, but they've been working on Source Engine 2 for a while, and I figured that's why we're not getting those sequels we want, is because they want to make a brand new engine, because when Source came out and they're making Half-Life 2 and shit, people are like, whoa. They're working on a new engine. They've been working on it for years. We're finally getting a game on that engine with Half-Life ALYX. I think we're going to start seeing games released by Valve again.
This is them kind of testing the waters.
I think this is the first one of many. I think we're going to get Left 4 Dead 3 finally. I think we will get Half-Life 3 now.
They got to up their fucking games, Left 4 Dead, but yeah.
Sure. Yeah. But I'm just excited. You don't build a fucking engine from the ground up if you're not ready to fucking make games. Unless you're Konami and you stole Kojima's engine and just didn't do shit with it because you're a fucking piece of shit. But I got high hopes for this. I am in the market for a VR game. I have PSVR. I have the Vive. I do think this is going to be a way for them to try and sell the Index, which is Valve's VR headset. I think it might work because, oddly enough, I was kind of skeptical. People are saying really positive things about this, and people who talk shit about it, people are like, it's like that Half-Life community got woken up again. It's weird. People are like, oh, it's only fucking VR. And they're like, well, it has to be revolutionary. Half-Life 2 was. And I'm like, damn, everybody's like, fuck Half-Life. I can't believe they haven't made a new one. And now people are like, we'll take it. So it's weird. They reactivated that community.
Are they sleeper cells?
Yeah. It's weird. People the last game came out 12 fucking years ago. Mm-hmm. That's a long time. The hype is fucking dead.
Oh, yeah.
And then this was being rumored, and people are like, it's VR. And then they showed it. We haven't watched it yet, but people are pretty happy. Apparently, it's supposed to be a full length as long as Half-Life 2 VR game.
There's not a lot of that.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's crazy.
I mean, technically, like Skyrim and Fallout and stuff like that.
Yeah, but those are like conversions. Like, this is a full from the ground up
design for it. Yeah.
Immersive experience on a brand new engine. So it's. I feel really mixed on it. I'm definitely excited for it. So we should probably just watch this so we can talk about it. So I just wanted people to, know where we stand when it comes to Half-Life. All right, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. Brand new engine.
I'm here. So what's the plan?
If we can get this weapon, what we're doing here could change things forever.
It is weird to see this
No
world
straight shot to the vault.
in these graphics now.
I'm gonna head inside, find a way out. Got it.
I'm with you every step of the way. You're gonna need a gun. Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now.
Damn. I'm already sold.
Combine channel's really picking up. They know you're coming. You need to get
There's
out.
no way it's gonna look that good on VR.
They're showing it like that, so it's gotta.
That looks really fucking good.
Yeah.
Oh god.
They've got Dad.
They're gonna find out what he knows.
Oh yeah, this serves as a prequel to Half-Life 2.
All this is my fault. I never told you.
Oh, there's an
I'm so
Alex
sorry, baby.
from the.
You will not
Yeah.
save him. Alex Vance alone cannot predict his fate.
Close your eyes, honey.
Is that it?
There's still like another
Oh.
10 seconds there, yeah.
I saw a picture on Twitter showing all three versions of him from the original Half-Life, Half-Life 2, and this. And it's really wild to see that reimagining of him in better graphics over and over and over again. And it's crazy. I think he still looks good in fucking Half-Life 2, though, like when I saw that picture.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the story, so obviously that him showing up, I'm like, I recognize him.
That's a big hype thing for like anybody who's probably like super into it.
Yeah.
I think it's neat, but yeah. That was actually, aside from the VR thing, which I'm still kind of like confused about, because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's like 1% of Steam users are on VR of some kind. That's not a big demographic, so
Right.
they're really hoping people are going to be buying VR headsets for this. But from what I saw though, graphics look fucking really good.
They do.
Not just for VR, because it's kind of hard. You have to render 2 separate games at once in VR to make it work, and so it's really fucking. It takes a lot of resources. But you know, it didn't look just good for VR. It looked fucking really good in general. If that's just a first-person shooter, that would look fantastic. The animations look great. The lighting was really good. It got me excited, man, because fucking Valve hasn't made shit in forever. They did Artifact. What the fuck is it called? Was that
Card game, yeah, based off Dota, I believe.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about that. I don't want that shit. Give me what you fucking used to make.
Give me what you got.
Pretty much. The humor there was cool. The fidelity of everything looked so smooth and well animated and
Yes.
just fucking AAA as shit. I mean, like, it looked really fucking good. It didn't look at all to me like, hey, we should just make like because they made the lab, which was really neat. But there's nothing about that seems like we got to cash in, we got to make some money or something like that. They're making plenty of money. And if you're gonna do something with Half-Life, you can't disappoint. People will fucking hate you if you made them wait 12 years and then when here's this shit. It would really piss people off. So I'll get to play it, which is cool. I'm excited to be able to play it. I feel weird about that there's a lot of people who are not going to be able to play this. I think it's kind of a weird thing for them to do. But at the same time, Valve has been on the forefront of fucking pushing VR.
Yeah, but they're also looking ahead, because if you
They are.
I saw somewhere the list of devices supported for the game, and it includes Microsoft's augmented reality thing that's not even out yet. Or
Weird.
It was Microsoft something, I can't remember, but it was listed on there. I was like, that's not even out. So they've already got plans, it seems like, for what's around the corner. And I imagine too, with because like you said, it looks really good for a VR game. The new consoles are coming out too.
Sure.
The new graphic cards are out. They're probably, a lot of times PC gaming is held back by consoles, and we're getting past that point right now. So we're gonna be able to get that push again, and maybe this is what we're seeing in the VR department in that push. So,
Yeah.
Plus,
But
Valve makes those like Source ran on everything. So
And yeah, but a lot of the limitations also come from the headset
Right.
itself. But at the same time, your computer can be upgraded. So it's just the resolution you can see, but you can still up those graphics. So yeah, and that is interesting to bring up the new consoles coming out, because it obviously coincides with it. It's the perfect time to be releasing something like this alongside the hype of new consoles that will be able to play it. It'd be cool to see us on PSVR. Vive, of course. I know they were talking about, they have a new technology they're working on with gloves they want to use that in this game. So it'd be the perfect time to fucking sell that as well.
For sure.
It'd be a good reason to push Vive to do the same since they used to work together.
Yeah. Then HTC apparently got real stingy.
Yeah, that's a weird situation. But yeah, all in all, I'm thoroughly impressed. I do, oddly enough, I'm one of those sleeper cells when it comes to Half-Life. There's an excitement there I haven't felt in a long time when it comes to Half-Life. That was really weird.
Yeah.
Just returning to that. I mean, it's been a meme for fucking years that Half-Life's just not going to come back.
Also, the meme itself is dead.
Exactly. It's over.
Yeah.
Like the meme existed for years that we're never going to get it. And now it's just fucking gone. And then when they're like, oh, this might be coming out, we're like, you guys remember that whole thing where like you look at patterns and you're like, oh, Half-Life 3 is going to get revealed. And they're kind of like, just kind of remembering that old meme.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a dinosaur of a fucking meme that people are just kind of like remembering.
Or Valve won't touch the number 3.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I'm feeling hopeful though. Aside from it only being for VR, which is weird. Outside of that, it looks fucking cool. And if it's a full game, that's fucking wild. For time's sake, we should probably go into the information on this real quick.
Okay.
Just, you know, if you got opinions or whatever, fucking throw them out there. What'd you think though? Like, you thought it looked good?
It looks cool. I won't be able to play that.
Yeah, especially if there's any horror elements.
That jump right in the beginning, I was like, that's never getting on my face.
Horror games don't do shit to me typically, unless there's like some kind of like build up to make me not want to walk forward anymore. But like jump scares are fucking weak. But because you play the game again, that jump scare's wasted. It's over. But fucking VR is a whole different fucking monster when you're playing horror games because you're in it.
You can't turn your head.
You can close your fucking eyes if you want to, but like other than that, like you're there. You got to take the headset off. So I've jumped in games that aren't even scary in VR. So yeah, according to GameSpot, Half-Life ALYX, what is it? They say Half-Life ALYX is a full-length entry in the Half-Life series. According to Valve, it was officially availed on Thursday, November, whatever. Release date, Half-Life ALYX's release window is March 2020, so not that far away. According to its... God, 2020 is coming up. That's so fucking crazy. According to its Steam page, we don't have an exact confirmed release date just yet, but the game's Steam page is currently running a 10% off pre-purchase promotion that ends March 30th, which would suggest it's coming out March 30th or 31st. This is just speculation based on the information available on the Steam page. Platforms. Valve Index, HTC Vive, got it. Windows Mixed Reality. I don't know what that is. That's not their augmented thing has a different name. So I don't know exactly what that is.
I don't know either.
Maybe it's just something, I don't know. Oculus Rift and Oculus Quest with PC and link cable. Because, yeah, your normal Oculus Quest thing's not going to be able to run that. So you need something to fucking run that game. Unless they do a downgraded version. Exclusive. Is VR required? Yes, Half-Life ALYX is a VR exclusive. You won't be able to play it without owning one of the supported headsets outlined above. Valve is insistent that it simply would not work outside of VR. So it seems like they have a vision that it can't be compromised. They want this to be VR. So I can kind of get behind that, specifically that it's not like Half-Life 3 is only VR. This is their own thing. But it's crazy. It's a whole fucking game. Controls. How do you play Half-Life ALYX? It seems Valve is trying to make the experience as accessible to players, especially VR newcomers, as possible too. You'll be able to play Half-Life ALYX in room scale, sitting, or standing, and movement controls include teleport, which lets you... I never do that shit. I hate it. In VR, you can hold a button, and there'll be a circle. When you let go, you teleport to that spot. It's a really common one that makes people... That's the one that makes the least amount of people sick. Shift, which lets you smoothly move between 2 points. That was in Doom VR, I believe. It lets you kind of like move, from point to point, similar to that. Continuous, which lets you use the analog stick to freely walk or run around, which is the way I typically play VR games. Half-Life ALYX also features 2 controller styles, finger tracking and trigger based. The trigger tracking style is unique to some VR controllers, like Valve Index controllers. Keyboard and mouse controls are not supported, so you're not playing this with the keyboard and mouse. Free bonus content, how to get Half-Life ALYX gun skins and more. Half-Life ALYX comes with free bonus content, including environments from the game in your Steam VR home space, alternate gun skins for Half-Life ALYX, and Half-Life ALYX themed content. Probably more gun skins, but that's just our speculation for Counter-Strike Global Offensive, CSGO. Anyone who plays already knows that. To get the free bonus content, you need to have already owned or buy a Valve Index VR headset by the end of 2019. So if you're trying to make a decision on which VR headset to buy, that's one factor to measure, which is fair. Price, pre-order, discount, and how to get Half-Life ALYX for free. Half-Life ALYX is a fully priced PC game at $60, though if you pre-order, you can get it for 10% off through March 30th, 2020, so you have a while. Bring the price down to $53.99. Want to bring the price way down and get Half-Life ALYX for free? Buy a Valve Index, Valve's newest VR headset, or just buy the Valve Index controllers. You don't even need the full VR kit. Already own the Valve Index or your controllers. Congrats, you already own Half-Life ALYX. So this is absolutely a promotion for you to buy the Index, which is actually kind of cool. If you're like, I really want to get that, I'm thinking about buying VR, you can just buy the VR and you'll get the game.
Yeah.
So
it reminds me of when you buy video cards.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. Which I think is smart. It's a really good way to push VR, which I think needs to happen. I think Sony's been doing a fucking phenomenal job supporting PSVR.
Yeah, it'll be great when their hardware gets better.
Yeah, definitely. But they have not given up on that. No one has, and it's because if you play enough VR, you really realize, even though it's not fully there yet, it's the future, 100%. There's some really fucking cool shit that the VR offers that is just like the next step in gaming. You'll do both still, but like VR is a different fucking thing. Story: when does Half-Life ALYX take place? According to Valve, Half-Life ALYX is a full-length Half-Life game set between Half-Life and Half-Life 2. You play as Alex Vance. A tweet that Valve says, set between the events of Half-Life and Half-Life 2, Alex Vance and her father, Eli, discover a secret that leads them into the heart of the Combine's occupation of City 17, which is cool. Rumors: what led up to Half-Life ALYX's announcement? The most recent rumors, which eventually culminated in Valve's official announcement. We don't need to talk about that. Why it got a thing. And then
Valve's history of VR. So,
which they have an extensive history with VR, and they've talked for a while now. They had multiple projects they're working on. It's really cool to see that they are working on a AAA full game, which is pretty neat. Yeah. Overall, that free copy with the Index thing makes sense. VR headsets aren't cheap, but also it makes sense that they want people to own VR headsets. I would recommend you own one if you have the budget for it. I think they're fucking cool. And if you are someone who really wants that fucking game and you think about what headset should I buy, that's a fucking great incentive to buy the Index.
Yeah.
Especially because they got that controller they're also working on with the gloves or whatever. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's always something I'm keeping my eye on, because I would love. I can't do the room scale, but the sitting, version of VR, even if you can still have like something like glove controllers and stuff like that, I'm totally fine with that. I don't need to be standing. So
yeah, I like the standing, but it can be a workout sometimes, which is good. I mean, people should be fucking moving and shit, but some games I'm just like, damn, I'm actually moving. I forgot what that's like. I move every day, but But it's weird to be playing a game and going like, "Ooh, I'm actually fucking feeling it."
Yeah, been a while. DDR.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Rest in peace. Anything else you want to say on that?
No.
Yeah. Pretty neat stuff. Pretty interested. We have a video we're gonna watch real quick, and I hope real quick. It's 20 minutes. Do we have time for that?
Just do it.
All right. Let's go.
Hey guys, it's Jeff Keighley, and I am here at Valve in Seattle, Washington. This is such a special day for me, and I'm sure for many of you, because Valve is ready to reveal its next project. In 1997, when I was going to college, I came up here
explain what this
to
video
Seattle
is, but he's
and met
doing
with
it.
Gabe Newell and the team when they were making their first game, of course, Half-Life. And I wrote a story about the making of it called The Final Hours of Half-Life. I did it again for Half-Life 2, and today I'm happy to announce that in 2020, I will be writing another Final Hours about the next project. So what is it? Well, it's a new Half-Life project. It's called Half-Life ALYX, a full-blown virtual reality prequel to Half-Life 2. And right here on floor 14, just off the lobby, for the past few years, a team of more than 50 folks at Valve have been working in absolute secrecy building this project. We're working on it right here now. I've been up here quietly over the past couple of years, chronicling the development of that game. I'm sure you have lots of questions about this. I can't believe it's actually happening. And today we're going to give you a little bit of a taste of what's been going on at Valve over the past decade, why now is the right time to talk about this project and bring it out in 2020. Here we go. I know we'll get into this in final hours, but there have been a lot of other games that you guys have worked on in the past 9 years that people have just never heard about or never shipped, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, along the way, building Source 2, we tried various games in different franchises. And each of them kind of moved the engine forward in some way and explored some idea. And they were all backburnered, for good reasons, I think. But they were more like milestones along the way to get to where we are now with Half-Life ALYX. And I think it'd be really fun to delve into those.
We will. I think some people think that, Valve's off, counting its money or not, not making games. And you guys, been here working on a bunch of projects.
Every day.
But then I think it, brings obviously to this one and why this, why now? And some people would probably cynically say Valve has to go back to making games now that Epic's chipping away at Steam.
Which even if that was the case, that'd be a good thing to be pushed and get off their ass.
Not what happened, but can you maybe kind of talk about how you got to the point of Half-Life ALYX, and we'll get into the fact that it's VR and whatnot. But how did this sort of begin as an idea?
I almost nervous.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to go back to around 2016 or so when the Vive shipped. Right?
Talk about making games, not often.
Our feeling after we shipped
with
the
a camera on them and a guy who's known for being an interviewer.
I think they understand the fucking gravity of the game they're releasing.
Which was where's the big VR title? Right? Where's the thing? A lot of people could see the promise of the VR as a platform, but
the lab was awesome. I love that. That was an experiment, right?
Yeah, happy with the lab.
I think the lab was, a combination of our efforts at understanding the mechanics of VR, and I think in a lot of
the lab's neat, but it's very much like other VR
experimentation and mechanics of VR.
Things that have come out. It's a toy to show its proof of concept.
It's a big VR game. One of the things
it's
we
neat
had to do
though.
around
Lab
that
was
time
really well done, but
what do they mean then? Because we thought
check it
the
out.
lab was a big game. We thought a lot of those other great indie devs and so on were making great VR games as well, and so it seemed like to us that a bunch of people were asking, where's the big sort of all-encompassing content for all that you get in a big AAA title of some kind?
High production values.
And if there are many reasons why it was and still is hard to justify building something of that scope in VR, we felt like that was a role we could.
That's also exciting too, because how many fucking AAA developers have put time into making a full game on VR? I mean, Santa Monica made
time into something that we may
some little thing, but it's it was a pet project.
I think Insomniac has made
back in 2016,
and they're all pet projects. It's neat, but
we shipped the lab.
If anybody's we're making a big ass fucking VR game, it's exciting.
What other things we could do with.
I remember when Gabe was saying we're working on 2 or 3 VR things or something. There was ideas, and so was it. So it wasn't let's do a Half-Life VR game. It was let's do a big VR game.
No, it was definitely let's do a big VR game.
Okay.
And then we explored different franchises. We kind of ruled out multiplayer just because of the small audience for VR.
Right.
And other issues as well with VR avatars and things like that.
Yeah.
And we kind of settled on Portal or Half-Life as interesting. And Portal is so much about, flinging yourself through space and through portals that we thought, well, we're going to make a bunch of people sick with this game.
I would love that shit. It'd be fucking
crazy.
crazy.
that was in the Portal universe, and that kind of worked. But you're right, a full-on Portal game.
Yeah, full-on Portal game seemed challenging, and then we looked at Half-Life and kind of the DNA of that product, and a bunch of the elements seemed really enhanced by VR.
Yeah.
Half-Life is about this cadence of story, combat, puzzle, exploration, interaction, environmental art, vistas, things like that. And they all seem to be enhanced or reinvented in interesting ways by VR.
Yeah.
And so as we explored that, you guys were, I wasn't on the team at the time, but you guys were doing the prototype.
Yeah, with Dario and small group of us, we basically literally started with Half-Life assets, the Half-Life 2 assets. So we built this short, like 15-minute, I think it was our intention was to build 15 minutes of a Half-Life experience using Half-Life textures, Half-Life assets. I think we stole Counter-Strike's gloves that they hadn't even shipped yet in Counter-Strike at the time.
The combat stuff.
So, no, we needed hands for that.
Right, yeah.
But yes, all the combat stuff in the game was just running straight Half-Life 2 AI, just in VR.
All
and
the assets, 12 years old.
yeah, it was. It was.
No, that was. I remember
very
like
nostalgic.
over the years, I've always been wondering. It's like, oh, when are they going to touch those assets? Or like secretly, I'd ask about like getting the G-Man for something, and it's like see if they had a new model. But no, it's like the same model from like I mean, Dara, you were on the shipping the original game when I was here in like 1997. Even though you guys said, hey, it would be cool to do something Half-Life with this, sort of what comes with that, right? Like sort of touching that IP again. And I think a lot of us watching this today and are like, we never thought this day was actually going to come. Like, was there trepidation when you guys finally said, like, yeah, we could do Half-Life, but like,
there was a reason it was a small team doing it at a time.
Maybe that was easier because we started this as an exploration of VR mechanics rather than, hey, we're going to start on Half-Life, whatever it's going to be.
So it's kind of focused around
You can
that.
say it. No.
Yeah.
Half-Life, whatever. Just like
and that made it a lot easier because we were just sort of, what can we do? How can we translate the Half-Life mechanics to the VR and the hands and the headset? And it was immediately really obvious there's a lot of potential here with this stuff. And just like one after another, we put these Half-Life mechanics into VR.
Right.
Some of them worked really well. Some of them were pretty comical up front, but there were enough that were really promising that we just sort of organically grew as we saw.
Game devs are always so hard to listen to because they're all fucking
of Half-Life
robots.
As we started to put people
mentally
through this 15-minute sort of prototype, they would spend 45 minutes in it.
It's also kind of shitty because the way Valve works anyways, where it's like you can just kind of walk into a project or whatever.
Yeah, that's how they make projects, They essentially said like it's tables or whatever, and like on this table, someone starts working on something, people start gravitating towards it, and it turns into something. And Half-Life 3 has been attempted like 5 times, I guess.
That kind of behavior really dovetailed very nicely with the sort of core DNA of Half-Life, and so we were really excited because if players are exhibiting that kind of interest in exploring their environment before we've even really got any reason to explore it in this prototype.
And the fact that it was so incredibly low fidelity. It was almost comical. But it didn't seem to matter because like the sense of immersion, the sense of being there was powerful enough that.
No, and now having played through it, I mean, that sense of immersion, it's just, I mean, what you guys have done visually with it and the look, I mean, it is absolutely Half-Life. I think that's something that will probably surprise people. I think there was rumors like, oh, you guys might be doing some kind of Half-Life VR thing, and people are probably expecting it,
small,
room with old assets. This is like a full-blown AAA production.
Yeah,
which,
it looks fucking brand new.
Is absolutely incredible to see kind of what you and the team have put together. But the big question I think everyone is going to have, it's like, VR is an emerging market. A very small percentage of, probably Half-Life fans and customers have VR. So I'm sure some people are like, great, you're doing Half-Life. We're super excited that that's happening, but like, why does this have to be VR only? Which is a fair concern for people, right? It's like, are they forcing me to buy VR to have the next Half-Life experience? Is that just because you think the opportunity for innovation was sort of in the VR space with this? Like, you're not doing a flat screen version of this game, right?
Yeah, I mean, we would love to be delivering a version of this that you could play with a mouse and a keyboard, but like as we said, it began as an exploration of VR, and the more we used the controllers and the headset, we realized the amount of interactions this gives, the amount of possibilities these things give us. The more we explored it, the more we realized that there's so much opportunity that we can't really translate back to a keyboard.
That'd be them leading the way,
your hands separately
but
from your head.
that's alienating a lot of people,
3D space, all simultaneously tracking and moving,
and hoping that they'll unalienate themselves
keyboard. And
by
when you
buying
put that
VR.
into game mechanics, the kinds of interactions that we can do now, we couldn't possibly do with a mouse and keyboard. Like interacting with doors is like one of the most obvious things. I mean, you've played, so you've seen.
No, it's so fun, and I think the thing, like with what I will say about the combat stuff, is when you're pulling a clip and putting the gun and like ducking for cover. I mean, there's funny videos of me playing this thing where you're, I mean, literally on the floor and ducking. I mean, it's like the combat is truly immersive and visceral, and it reminds me of like classic Half-Life, but it's so much different. I mean, I'm sure you could potentially map some of that to like a mouse or controller, but it's just,
The
I
amount
think
of
it's
complexity
better.
that's going on there, it's so hard to. We would have to map an entire section of the keyboard dedicated just to interacting with doors if we wanted to have that kind of functionality. Whereas it's so intuitive for you because you know how the door works and you can sort of crack it open.
The experience wouldn't translate because then you're just
put the
making
gun
a
through
first shooter.
and
You
I
have to
pull it
eat
back
open
through,
the
you
door
can
and
knock
shit.
it open, you can drop a grenade in and close the door.
No, there's one
Can't do any
sequence
of
in the
that.
game where it's literally like you literally open it, throw something, and close it, and it's like and that's what makes it so unique and fun, and that's what I think Half-Life has always represented is like innovation in play style and what it is, and I think there's innovation there in how you play, which I think, as you said, might not translate to.
Yeah, and like the more we explored those mechanics, the more we realized that in order for us to deliver a keyboard and mouse experience, we'd have to ship a game with like that's missing a lot of those interactions, and they were playtesting so well that we didn't feel like that was a good idea.
Well, yeah, you'd end up watering down the VR experience, or to try to do both at the same time.
Right.
And the process was really, what can we do with these controllers and the HMD? And so that, as we explored that idea, it just drove us into this place where the game became essentially VR rather than just kind of superficially VR. And it would be, like Dario said, really hard to support those mechanics on a keyboard.
A lot of cases, almost impossible.
Yeah.
I just
And
don't
you're
see how
supporting
they would pull it
other, and it's not just Index, right? It's supporting like Vive and Oculus and beyond,
we want
multiple PC headsets, right?
Everyone that we can get to be able to play this, we want to be able to play it.
Yeah.
And our requirements, I mean, track controllers is sort of one of the main things, just because, as Dario says, we do so much with
I wonder if those will work with Vive.
We're constantly asking the player to be doing
hand controls
things
they're talking about
simultaneously with both hands.
Oh, it's a workout.
I imagine it would.
The amazing
because
thing is it's all intuitive. You're
tech
not learning
they worked
bindings of
on
a
was Vives for a
keyboard.
long time.
Yeah, and it's more so just communicating
You're
with.
pulling the clip,
Exactly.
reloading the gun.
I mean, they already
it's
let
like
you map
it's a whole
controllers to wherever you
other-
want on
it's a
Steam,
new
so
way
I don't know why they
of
wouldn't let
playing,
you
but
use
is
those on
really
your
deep and
headset.
immersive.
And if they're going to work
and
with the
then you
game
layer
anyway, the
on,
game's going to know how those things
the fact
work.
that you've got great story here and great characters.
As long as they don't have a
and things that
proprietary
people love
plug
about
into the
Valve
headset,
kind of
just like
in this
USB,
environment as
right,
well.
which is fine. So
It's a prequel. People don't know, starring ALYX. I'm sure the question, of course, will come up. You wouldn't even say it, but like Half-Life 3, I'm sure some people are like, why is this not Half-Life 3? Why is this a prequel? So can you sort of explain like timeline, how that all kind of came together? Because you said, let's do Half-Life, but it's like, just carry it forward, guys.
Yeah, I think Robin is the perfect person to answer this question.
Time to
Run.
leave.
Yeah.
fucking A.
I mean, in all honesty, back in 2016 when we started this, I mean, Half-Life was just a terrifying. Sorry, Half-Life 3, terrifyingly daunting prospect, right?
It's not good to hear.
And I think to some extent, VR was a way we could fool ourselves into believing we could, we had a way to do this. Because by starting with VR and then trying to think about Half-Life and how it worked with it and playtesting those, you're immediately in a space where we have something we understand well, Half-Life's core gameplay, and a new platform with new prospects and new possibilities, and we can do that translation, and then we can watch people play it. And so within a week or two, we're starting to learn. We're able to watch someone go through it. And so it was really easy to not try and think about the big picture of like, we're making Half-Life 3 and just focus on, let's figure out what people enjoy in this, and let's make forward progress. And in some ways, like VR was a little bit, like the sort of like the way the gravity gun helped us in Half-Life 2, where
it's like a spark to kind of get some.
You could wrap so much
that
around.
The juices flowing, something different.
And so VR became this thing that we could wrap everything around.
Kind of like a rail to slide along for design,
Yeah.
No, I think that's fair.
Whereas Half-Life 3, if it's like, hey, tomorrow you're working on Half-Life 3, you're like, oh God.
No, and they said the expectation. You
Terrifying.
said there's a safety to sort of doing a VR thing, whereas you said doing a full-blown, Half-Life 3 that has crazy expectations.
They just need to get
sort of
someone
it's
who
completely
fucking can write a
wide
really good
open
story
in terms
to
of
and I'm sure they know
And
and
we
have
were
worked on it and shit, but like
we found
just get
this
someone to write a
VR
fucking
as
amazing
platform
story for
as the
Half-Life
backbone
3
of this
and start
project.
working
We're
from
gonna
there.
have to find
I mean, people
it.
just want
And then by the time
best looking that you can make at
we
the time
started to realize,
game that's a
like, we
first person
started
shooter that's
making a bunch
immersive
of progress
and story
seeing
driven.
things that were working long before
As long
we
as the
get to
story's
point of
good, no
deciding
one's going to complain.
How big
If
is
the story's
this thing
bad,
we're
people
building?
fucking hate
So
it.
we're able to, by the time you start
All right, we should probably stop it here. Pretty much get the gist that their drive is innovation. They want to kind of re-spark the creative process, and it kind of slowly evolved from working on a VR title that's supposed to be a AAA full experience to Half-Life. Although Portal would have been really neat to see in VR, but I understand that would definitely make people sick. Do you have any thoughts on the creative process or anything really that we've talked about when it comes to Half-Life Alyx?
More so, just enjoy listening to like the behind the scenes aspect of it.
Yeah, I love listening to devs talk about their games.
Yeah, it's interesting just to see like where the inspiration came from to make that game, especially since, like you said, it started off as, well, we want to make, the people are clamoring for that AAA VR game, and so they toyed around with that, and then they were like, well, what assets do we have that we can toy with? And then they ruled out a bunch of stuff, and then they picked two, but then one of them would very much so make people sick. So they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna mess with Half-Life assets, see what happens, and it just kept evolving. So
yeah, it's interesting.
And that it is interesting because it wasn't like someone was like, we're making VR Half-Life. It was literally just, it kind of happened. So I think it's interesting. It's also, great news for people who are diehard Half-Life fans and willing to do what it takes to play that game, or for people who already are invested in VR, they're getting that experience, that AAA game coming out. So overall, I think it's just a positive thing in gaming in general, because it is something that is missing, and
I think it's crucial. I think it's crucial to really sell the idea of VR. We got to fucking take the step into video games, not toys, not these immersive experiences, but like full on fucking games
for sure
that are a viable. I'm gonna buy this for that $60 full AAA experience in VR, and that's a great first step for them, and a possibility for them to lead the way for other people to do the same, which I really want people to do. To really push the medium, because that's the one thing that's kind of kept VR stagnant is it's in its infancy. People still trying to figure out how to make games for it. They're just more so enamored by the fucking possibility of being able to do this. They're still toying around with it as they're developing these games. So to get that AAA production is really cool, but it's also exciting for me because this is Valve finally stepping out of their fucking. I mean, that they're scared to make Half-Life 3. I don't like. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but that sucks.
Yeah.
That this developer who's made Half-Life 2 is afraid to make Half-Life 3. That's not where you want to be, mindset wise. That you don't want to hear that from the people you're wanting Half-Life 3 from, that they're afraid to make it.
Yeah.
So, and I get where they're coming from, but it just kind of sucks to hear that. But hopefully this, like they were saying, can kind of get them going like, okay, we made this. We really like what happened there. We have revisited Half-Life in a modern sense. We're ready to take that jump. So I think this is a good step for Valve as a company in general, regardless of the VR, regardless of the subject matter. It's good to see Valve is stepping up to the plate to make games again.
Yeah.
But they're also thinking outside the box and trying to make innovative games, which is something that they were known for.
Yeah.
So not just innovating the digital market and owning it. And then stopping, what they're doing. But all in all, I agree with you. I think it's a good thing. I'm really excited to see where they go with it. For what I've seen gameplay wise, it looks really fucking cool. Looks like something I'd play. The idea of playing a full game in VR is awesome. And listening to the devs talk about it was really interesting. Although it's always hard for me to listen to devs personality wise, because they're always just like, the fucking numbers and things. But it is really interesting to hear the creative aspect of how they came to that point. But yeah, pretty cool. Anything else?
No.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think about Half-Life Alyx. What do you think about it being VR only? Are you in the market to play it? Can you play it already? Are you planning on buying what you need to play it? Or is that something that is going to hold you back from playing this? Or do you not care about Half-Life in general? This is just like not interesting to you at all. Or you're one of those people who are not going to be able to play this game and you're a big Half-Life fan. What do you think about the game in general being a prequel? What do you think about Source Engine 2 with the graphics? Does that excite you? What do you think about their thought process on Half-Life 3? And would you have preferred a Portal VR game over this or something else? Let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Half-Life Alyx in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this episode of TasteCast, episode 103. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out our streams. Links down below. I'm on Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube all at once when I stream, so you can watch me wherever you want to watch. Chevy's on Mixer. And yeah, we got a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. Make sure to vote GOTM. One of the games that I did not read at the beginning of this episode, but I'll have it on the screen so you know what games you can vote for. That will stop on Thanksgiving. So make sure to get your votes in, 1 vote per video. And yeah, my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
Until Tasty Tuesday, have a good night, guys, and take it easy.